Okay, we're live.
We're live.
Alright, Shabbat Tov, everyone. It's been only about 3 months. Everyone, I'm sure, has been practicing for the last 3 months non-stop.
Day and night.
So, everyone's going to give us like Mawal tonight and sing like there's no tomorrow, right? Alright, so, welcome again, Maury Blanco. We're gonna clap, we're gonna like there's 50 people here.
Right.
Because he deserves it. He's one of the most talented.
I heard there's a
musicians.
world-class musician coming tonight.
Yeah. Right.
Don't let him down.
So tonight we're going to do a little bit of everything, and now that we have a smaller group, we can really dive into this Maqam. We're staying with Bayat for now because only the last class was class number 5, is when we did the entire scale. So tonight we're going to really just get into it, review it, understand it, learn it, sing it, and we'll figure out based on how everyone is holding at the end of the class, the feedback I get between now and the next class as to what we're going to do, whether we're going to stay with Maqam Bayat, we're going to move to something else. So let's just go right into the music. More, you want to give us maybe like a 5-minute scene, just something. Keep the Bayat, and if you wanna weave a little bit. What do you think?
I started with him do that.
Do that. catching what he was doing. Someone tell me something that he did?
It was great, man.
Looking over here, tell me anything that you noticed and what more he did. Did anyone hear Ajam?
Yes, he went into Ajam.
Okay.
I think on
You
the
know
top.
where he went into Ajam?
Is it on B?
Yeah, B flat. On the B flat. I also heard him going on the F when he went all the way down. There's Ajam on F and there's Ajam on B. Why? Because an Ajam is a trichord. Ajam is 3 notes as opposed to most of the other ajnas, which are 4 tetrachords. And so in between 3 notes you have 2 tones, right? The tones of the DNA of the Maqam. And so the DNA of a Ajam trichord is 1, 1. 1 tone, 1 tone. So you have that here, and you have that here. So FGA is and then on B I want to focus on that today, this transition from Bayat into Ajam and back to Bayat. Because it's, in my opinion, just my opinion, I think it's one of the most beautiful transitions. It works with one another so beautifully, so well. It's like a contrast. Because Bayat has more of, in my opinion, more of like a sad feel to it as you're coming down from the top, because up here is Nahwan, right? From G to C is Nahwan. So if you go to B, and then the other thing I want to focus today on is what we call the trilogy we said last time, which we're going to flip to in another slide, but Rast, Bayat, Siga. Siga is always in most cases is the E half flat. And then D is the Bayat and C is the Rast. Rast, Bayat, Siga. Rast, Bayat, Siga. And we're going to learn how to transition from Siga to Bayat, because that's a big one. When do we transition from Siga to Bayat? What's the big in the Salah?
You finished the Shema Saturday night?
Shema, Saturday night into, right? V'emunah kuzot, it's Rast, Bayat, and Siga are very, very similar in the sense that they share 5 notes. They all share C, D, E half flat, F, and G. Correct? No? So even, well, you don't have C down here, but Bayat has C up here, right? So these 5 notes, C, D, E half flat, F, G, is shared by all 3. So I can, in essence, depends where I start and stop. Right, hey Mark. Okay. Now this, so the B flat is, I think, in my opinion, the nicer of the 2 is the B flat. It just shows like a more of a contrast when you jump to the Ajam and B flat. And today we're going to try an exercise that I think is fantastic. If you can master this exercise, you will be the best Hazan in your shul, hands down. Because it's so simple that most people, I feel like, when you try and go up and down and jump from 1 to 8, back to 2, up to 7, down to -1, it's confusing to people's ear unless you're trying to do something specific for a very short period of time. I find it confusing. When you stay on a note for a couple of stanzas and you milk that note, just keep it going, a little up, a little down, but keep to that note, and then you go to the next one, go to the next one. There's a certain order that the ear appreciates. So let's go into Bayat, into the scale. And I really want to get this down. So we're going to go 1 through 4 back to 1, and then we're going to go 1 through 8 back to 1. Now remember, this is more a technical point, but even though there's 2 ajnas, right, 2 tetrachords here, the tetrachords are they're not separate from each other. It's not 1 through 4 and then 5 through 8. It's 1 through 4 and 4 through 7. They're called conjunct, so they're overlapping on G. So G is actually where the Nahwan starts. That's my D. That's the Bayat. Jins. Dum 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 dum. That's my Nahwan. And then the D is just a repetition of the first one. That's the octave, right? So let's start with the first 4. We'll just do it a few times, and then we'll go up to 8 back to 1, and then we'll start to get some participation.
Why are you looking in this direction?
Precipitation. Again, 2 more times. Volunteer for 1 through 4? Leia, come on, Avi. Very nice. Good. I would encourage you to, on the way down, go with
Yeah.
the same tempo that you're going on the way up.
Right.
You're going on the way up nice and orderly, and then on the way down you're sliding quickly. Wanna go?
Sure.
Up and down.
Okay. We hardly heard you, but. Right?
Keep it.
Raymond, wanna do the show? Try again. Beautiful. Rabbi?
Oh boy. Okay. There we go.
You went up all the way to the Hosseini note.
God
I
bless
was
me.
trying to jump ahead.
Okay,
You
I'll
busted.
take it. I'll take
You
it.
broke the barrier.
Yeah, he broke his.
I'll take it. So you're saying I got 1 to 5, even better.
Alright, now we're gonna go all the way up to 8 and back.
Wow.
Ah. express them. I want to go from D to D. Lower D to higher D is 1 octave. 1 octave also has 6 tones in it. If you add up all these numbers, you'll get 6. And it's basically the same note on a different pitch, so it's 1 octave higher. Why is that important? A lot of times it's good to surprise the people that you're singing, right? Understand how it, you can just go back and forth? Now an example of the B flat major, of the B flat ajam. Let's do the, we can do bayat. Once you get the connection, because we said it's almost like you're on, Bayat Expressway, and you want to take exit 6 for Ajam, right? You're looking out for exit B flat, exit number 6. If you take exit 5 to Ajam, you're gonna go down the wrong ramp. You're gonna end up with a 10-car pileup, and then you're gonna lose your job. You're gonna crash the company's car.
Well, Mike, how do you know, because I'm not totally unfamiliar, I love music, but I'm not, how do you know to get off of exit 102? How do you know that? Going into, like, you're doing this thing, Jenny, we're going up, we're going up.
So you're going to practice.
Just a simple explanation of how.
Right. Okay. So I literally, this past week, I wouldn't be able to do this just off the cuff. I practiced for a week for this class,
Wow.
just going around it. I'm in the hallway of my apartment, I'm singing. I'm in the car, I'm singing. So what am I doing? I'm going 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1, 6, 1.
That's a stretch.
So in my mind, I've already burned it into my brain, right? So I'm able to do that jump. So it's just a matter of practice. So in my mind, I already know how far to stretch my voice to get to that exit.
Got it.
And you don't have to go from 1 to 6. You can go from 1 to 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go. Right, you can go up the scale.
So you're saying that basically once you once you master the 1 to 6, you could go 1 to 6 automatically.
Right.
Correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
The best Hazanim, like if you ever hear Habusha, he doesn't miss his exits. He slows down, he puts his blinker on, and he's right in the middle of that. Like he's like dead on, going the speed limit. He's right there. We burned that analogy to death. So I want to talk also about vibrato, right? We spoke about vibrato. Just two types of vibrato that you can practice. Vibrato is when you give a little bit of bend to the notes. You go a little bit higher, a little lower, just to give it some more depth and richness. So, for example, so there's two types you could do that I know of that I use frequently. One is to go like D, E F flat, D, E F flat, back and forth. Right. Or you can do like D, E F flat, D, C, D. You can go up one, down one, middle. You want to try?
Can you give that example?
Yeah, that's the example. So, for example, if you let's do D, E, F flat. Sounds funny, but when you're singing it, you want to do it fast. Try it. Don't be afraid. And now try from E, F flat to F. Now try the other one. We go up one, down one. So let's try from D. And that's a great move, like when you're trying to just focus on the bass of the scale. So you just play around with the notes at the bottom, give it some depth, as opposed to going it sounds flat. Okay, so let's do our we do this pop quiz. I like the pop quiz. Pop quiz. I'm going to give you three makamat. I'm going to do a quick mawal, and I want you to close your eyes and then just pick the pure bayat. And after we're done, you're going to raise your hand, your finger 1, 2, or 3 for bayat. Even you, Rabbi.
Okay, I'm not on camera though.
Okay. So you can sit this one out.
Huh?
You can sit this one out.
Yeah.
First one. Second one. Third one. So which one did you hear Bayat?
It's our process of elimination.
Fingers.
Third
One
one
was one.
So the third one was Saba.
Yeah,
Okay.
third one was
You guys all got the second one?
No, I got a
What
one
the
up
first one?
here.
What clued you into the first one you thought was Bayat?
I don't know.
Wasn't it a
Sounded
very-
familiar.
Sounded familiar. Well,
Yeah.
it's in the Bayat family. It's
It's
Shuri.
Hosseini.
Bayat Shuri.
Oh, sure.
Bayat Shuri,
Oh,
where you
points
have
for
Hajaz
me.
up here.
So it had the same ending?
Hajaz is close to Siga, so that's probably what you heard.
It has the bayat ending, that one?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm good.
right, so you
I'll
got
take it.
50. And then the third was obviously Saba, right?
Did you do pure bayat on the second one?
Huh?
Did you do pure bayat on the second one? Or did you like Hosseini?
Pure Bayat.
You didn't do any?
Yeah. No, not Hosseini. Hosseini would be the B half flat,
Right.
right? Okay.
Let's give a round of applause.
I'm on tonight. I had a good
You
dinner.
are.
I had a good dinner. I had my Wheaties. Okay. Let's do a quick housekeeping. Nobody new here. I know everyone. So everyone's on the blog, right? Everyone's on. You can watch it. You can see it. No technical issues. If you have any problems, let me know. We'll fix it right away. And keep posting. And you guys have to lead the rest of the set. We have 75 guys in the class that rotate. Now you guys are the leaders because you're here and they're not.
Right, so I think the next time that you should, God willing, if you're gonna put it into the next couple of weeks for Passover, if you're gonna do it, I think maybe you should put, because I'm just telling you from when we do programs at my network,
Plan it out from now.
plan it out and get the response in, so let them confirm the response or whatever, so at least you have an idea what's going on.
Yeah, we did that for this class. We got like 25 responses.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Because
So-
generally it's about a 25-30% drop off from I'm coming. That's what we do a
Right.
thing.
That's
200
why-
people
that's why-
are coming.
That's why usually it takes like 6 months to a year to get married, 9 months to
Yeah.
have a baby, but suddenly everyone.
I can't. Well,
you know,
tonight
I had
the
a baby,
truth.
I got
Tonight,
married.
because tonight there was a couple engagement parties and stuff like that.
You're
Right.
competing with affairs in the Nick game.
I don't know where people have their priorities today, marriage. Okay, so just an interesting history tidbit I was reading. This may be completely off. It was from Wikipedia, so people, historians don't really like Wikipedia, but it sounds fun, so I picked it up. It writes, in an experiment where Maqam Saba was played to an equal number of Arabs and non-Arabs, who were asked to record their emotions in concentric circles, with the weakest emotions on the outer circle, right? So Saba was the last one that we did.
Right.
Saba was, so when you hear that, what emotions come to mind?
Sad.
Sadness? Okay. What do you feel, Art?
I think they would bleep me that.
You mean like the rabbit more occasion oriented? Is that?
Well,
Yeah.
that's when you hear it, right?
Yeah.
Well, what associations do you have with it? Good memories, bad memories, happiness, sadness, anger? What?
No, not bad.
It's not a trick question. I'm just asking. Anyway, so they.
I think that one is. Well, I don't know the ones that, let's say, bad. It's got to be like really like a drone type or whatever. Like I'm sure there's stuff like that when there's things going on that
I think the answer is it really depends on who you're talking to, and even within a group like this, you might have different responses because music is very subjective. You ascribe your own meaning to the maqam and to the notes.
Yeah, but if it has that, just that.
It has cultural significance, like this
Right.
maqam Saba is used for.
But even like
play.
after like the couple of classes that you gave, and I went on the YouTube and I started to clock all these people that, and they're all like the happy stuff is all it's going wild,
Yeah. So the Arab subjects reported experiencing Saba as sad, tragic, and lamenting, while only 48% of the non-Arabs described it thus, with 28% of the non-Arabs describing feelings such as seriousness, longing,
Yeah.
tension.
Wow.
Dude, I got serious. The serious
6%
doesn't-
experienced feelings such as happy, active, and very lively.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 10% identified no feelings. Those were the terrorists. So it really depends on who you are, what your connection is to the music.
Is there a difference between the let's say our Jidor's understanding of it and a non-Jew's? Or they
Sure, it could be somebody, back in Egypt or Syria saying
Right.
it a certain way on a certain occasion, right? Every time something happened, he said Saba, he made up his own pismon, it was put in the Red Book, and for
Right.
us it's, something else.
Right,
So
right.
it's
So it could be
cultural,
that.
it's geographic, it's everything. So I want to do a quick Well, I'll just throw it out there. Do you guys want a refresher course, just literally 3-4 minutes, just on the technical terms?
I'm fine.
Are you
I'm
okay
good.
with that?
I'm
or-
the boys.
I'm
We
good.
just go through a couple of definitions because we're going to be using them throughout the class, and we're going to be using them in the blog. So when we say pitch is a sound. So anytime you hear a sound, pitch. A note is a representation of a sound. So when I say this note, it represents pitch. It's just written as a note, or it's spoken as a note. The tone is not like leave a message after the tone. It's the space between the pitches, which I actually learned from my good friend. And the tones are the DNA of the maqamat. It's almost like the spatial relationships between the pitches is what defines the maqam. When I have one, I'm in ajam. When I have 3/4, 1, I'm in exactly. Oh yeah. Melody is a series of pitches. They call melody a series of single pitches. Harmony would be several pitches at one time. Octave is the space between the same note on a higher pitch, so the low D and the high D. Rhythm and tempo have to do with the beat. So rhythm is the pattern of the pitches. So who can give me a rhythm with like numbers? Throw out a rhythm.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Right, but
Oh.
do it give it to me in a rhythm.
Huh?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Oh, there you go.
Right,
Pump it up a little.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
How's that different than a melody then?
That's rhythm. That has nothing to do with the melody. I
It's
could
the
do
pattern.
la 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 la, or I can go la 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 la. That's two different melodies with the same rhythm.
Oh, okay.
Tempo is how fast I produce that rhythm. So I could do a rhythm 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or I could do it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the faster the tempo, the faster the spaces in the rhythm go. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So rhythm is kind of like the barcode, and it's like how fast are you processing that barcode as a tempo. Vibrato we spoke about, that's the variation. The cadence is the musical phrasing, kind of like how we close out a maqam. That would be sort of like cadence. And then there's flat and sharp. Flat, almost imagine like you're flattening something out, you're lowering it, right? So when you say flat, you're taking the note and you're bending it downward, right? By a half tone. Half tone is a flat, and a sharp is raising it a half tone. So if a flat is lowering it a half tone, a half flat is lowering it a flat, yeah.
Yeah.
Quarter. Flat is a half tone, so a half flat is a quarter tone, and a sharp is going up a half tone, so half sharp is up a half. It's a quarter tone, right? And then with the maqam, we have tetrachord. Chord is a series of pitches or notes. Trichord is 3. Tetrachord 4. Pentachord 5. Most, right? Then we have jins or ajnas is plural. Those are the building blocks of a maqam. Usually you have 2 in a maqam. Sometimes you have 3. Sometimes you have what's called subsumed, where they're like hidden, kind of like the ajam inside of the bayat. Most of the jins are tetrachords. 2 of the trichords that are most common is ajam and siga, right? Siga is also a trichord. You want to play the siga 3 notes? I think what gives siga the ability to have only 3 notes in a tetrachord to make it a full jins is the fact that it's dealing with that E half flat, that quarter tone. So it kind of gives it like almost like a unique, because there's not many maqamat that have that E half flat. It's unique to only a few of them. Okay, and then Maqam would be 2 jins or more. Right, we spoke about the pants and the shirt. It's like, you know, they have these games for the kids, Melissa and Doug. You know, so you have the, you know, this little girl, and you gotta change her. You put the pants and the blue pants and the red shirt and the, you know, and the sweater and the, you know, and the jeans.
Gotta match it up.
Gotta match it up. So that's what the maqam is made out of. There's the primary maqamat, which are Ras, Bayat, Siga, Nahwan, Ajam, Kurd, Hijaz, Sabah, the ones that you hear all the time. And then there are secondary maqamat that are within, like we spoke about Bayat Shuri, or you can have Siga Baladi, or you can have, you know, Lami, or Hijaz Qad, or Sabah Zamzam. There's all different kinds of secondary and other maqamat. Basila is a family where it's not just a maqam, it's a family of maqamat, like Bayat and Ras. Tonic is the first note of a maqam. So in this case, we're using D. D is the tonic for Bayat. Bayat can be transposed into a lot of different letters, but D is the one we're using. And the subsumed maqamat is example like Ajam on B flat within the Bayat. And these are the names of the actual pitches, or the tonics, and the Ras scale. We have Ras, Bayati, Siga, Kibka, Nawa, Husseini, Hawj, and Mahmud. Alright, that wasn't so painful, was it?
That was great.
Good. Now I want to do something that the Hazan and musician who came here a couple of times ago, Victor Esses, he gave me this idea, so I got to give him the credit for it. It's an exercise I was telling you about earlier. This exercise, if you can, it's not that difficult. In fact, it's so simple, I think, that it's overlooked. I didn't really think of it until Victor told it to me. If you practice this, and you really just go, and it's actually fun. It's not like, you know, doing the Maqam Bayat 1 through 8, back to 1 over and over again. This is something you can play with. You can develop your own style. So everyone has a siddur, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it start.
There you go. This is good enough. No, I'm saying the same section.
Okay. So why are we doing this? Well, first of all, what are we doing? We're gonna go like this. The goal is to really get in our brains second nature, the spaces vocally between the notes. So we're gonna open up to Ashrei, Ashrei Yoshvei B'techa, and we're gonna imagine that we're in the middle of shul on Saturday morning, and the Hazan's giving out the parts between Baruch Shamar and Nishmat, and he points to you. You got the next one. All of a sudden you start shaking, and your heart starts racing, and you start sweating, and you're dilating, and everything's going. And you know, what am I going to do, right? Am I going to go high, low? How am I going to hit the ajam? What if I end up on Kurd? They're going to kill me. So here's your answer. Here's what you're going to do. With this exercise is we're going to go. We're going to start one pasuk each note. We're going to start on D. Then we're going to go E half flat, back to D. Then we're going to go F, back to D. Then number 4, back to 1, 5, back to 1, 6, back to 1, 7, 8, back to 1. So you're always going to land on the bottom, but you're going to keep raising the starting point, and you're going to stay. You can go a little bit up, a little bit down, but you're going to stay. You're going to make that note, whatever it is you're on, is going to be the base for that pasuk. It should be heard throughout the pasuk. You should know, oh, he's really into, you know, the A here. He's really playing with that note. And what it does is you'll start to see how amazing it is. It's so simple, but the way it sounds is awesome. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to take the first few words of each pasuk, and I'm going to show you how it's going to start. Then I'm going to run you through, by myself, I'm going to run you through one round of it, and then we're going to do it together, right? I'm going to start you off, and you're going to just sing together, and then we're going to go back to one, so you'll see how it goes, okay? So the first pasuk would be, Ashrei Yoshev Betecha. Second pasuk would start, Ashrei Am Shekach Lo. Third pasuk, Tehillah LeDavid Aromimcha. Fourth pasuk, Bechol Yom Avarechecha. Next pasuk, Gadol Adonai Umulal Meod. Next one, Dor LeDor Yeshabach Ma'asecha. And then the next pasuk, Ve'ezuz Norotecha Yomeru. And then ultimately, Zecharav Tovecha Yabiru. That would be the high D. So that's kind of the framework of where we're going. And now you'll see how I do it, okay? Ashrei Yoshev Betecha Od Yalelu Chesela. Ashrei Am Shekach Lo. Ashrei Am Shalomai Eloav. Back to one. Tehillah LeDavid Aromimcha Eloi HaMelech V'avarecha Shemcha Le'olam Va'ed. Gadol Adonai Umulal Me'od Ve'legdulato En Heker. I'm going to 5. Dor LeDor Yeshabach Ma'asecha Orotecha Yagidu. Now's the big one. Adam Kevod Odecha Ve'devrei Nifleotecha Shicha. Now we're going to 7. Ve'ezuz Norotecha Yomeru Ulatecha Yedaberu. Now we go way up top. להודיע לבני אדם גבורותם וכבוד אדם מלכותו. Not bad. Easy,
Nice.
right?
For you.
Well, that's the thing. If you told me to do this last class, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be
Really?
stumbling. I'd be asking him to
Wow.
give me the key.
You
Right?
was-
He didn't have to give me the key because I practiced it all week.
You
In the
was
shower, in
seamless.
the car, in the thing, while I'm eating, I'm humming. That's just how it. That's how it's done. You
Right.
just practice it over
And
and
it
over
falls
and
into
over
place.
again, and then it becomes second nature. Now I could jump. I could tell you jumping to 7, jumping to 8, and it's already in my mind. So
He's being humble. He could do it.
no,
Last week.
no, I really couldn't. All right, now we're gonna do it together. Everyone ready? So you got the system? 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. Okay? Always got to come back to the base.
What are we signing?
Ashrei Yoshev Betecha Od Yalelu Chesela. Now here's the next one. Ashrei Am Shekach Lo. Ashrei Am Shalomai Eloav.
to go to Shira Zion.
And now, as you do this, you start to realize, oh wow, I'm in Siga. I didn't even really put much of an effort, right? Right, we were on Siga.
Yeah, you really felt it when you were doing like note by note.
Right.
You felt like, see, yeah, and when we went to Ajam, you really
Right.
felt that. And
Right.
it was really easy to go into
Because you
Ajam.
actually are on Siga.
Yeah.
It's just that you're ending on Bayat, so that's what takes you back to Bayat. You can go Shream, Shreim, Shinkachem, Shreim, You don't have to end on,
Stay
stay on the Siga. And you can play with that for 5 Pesukim and come back. It's all open road at that point, as long as you know where you are. That's half the battle, is knowing where you are. Because once you have no idea, there are times I'm singing and I don't know where I am. I'm in some kind of other state, you know. I took the wrong exit. I ended up in Alabama, and I said, Maury, bring me back. And then the Ajam, of course. And now this is, I'm gonna lead into the next part, which is we're gonna learn an Arabic song, Zayl Hawa by Abdul Halim. A lot of you know it. It is one of the most beautiful songs, and it's based on this whole Ajam. Ajam is throughout the song. Zayl Hawa ya habibi, Zayl Hawa ya aini ya Hawa, ya habibi ya Hawa. Back to the. So it's exactly what we were talking about. So so let me jump to the. See, here's the Siga, right? This is it. This is the trichord, 3 notes. La, 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 la. Siga. And Siga has the DNA of 3/4 tone and 1 tone. So anytime you see that in a scale, you can automatically point that Siga.
Thank you.
Wa hazaku baruch.
Done?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hazakim Beruchim.
Thank you.
So, okay, now this is the Ajam. And now when we're on this top one here, not the D, number 7, number C, let us see. This is a great segue into which Maqam.